All right, so I might say Google Ed or Google Classroom interchangeably. Google Classroom is a virtual classroom that's part of Google Education. Google Education is just a whole series of free Google apps online that facilitate the classroom. Or, I mean, it has Office apps like Microsoft Word equivalent, sort of stuff like that, but it's used in a virtual classroom environment. So, like I said, Google Education provides a virtual classroom environment for classes and schools to increase productivity and collaboration. Basically, it's a virtual classroom. It's all online. The teacher can easily push assignments out to students. Students can do them all online and then easily turn them back in, all on the virtual classroom. So, it uses the Google Apps Suite that comes free with a Gmail account. I don't know how many people have a Gmail account, but if you didn't realize it, a lot of free apps come with a Gmail account, including Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Presentation. It's essentially like the Microsoft Office suite. So you have a word processor, a thing for making presentations, a spreadsheet program, along with many other things. There's Google Calendar. There's an entire host of free Google apps that come with a Gmail account. The main ones that are used in Google Classroom are Google Docs, or the equivalent of Microsoft Word, Google Sheets, which is spreadsheets, kind of like Microsoft Excel, Google Slides, which is the equivalent to PowerPoint or a presentation software. Google Forms is a tool for teachers or anyone really to create easy surveys and quizzes and push them out to people and then easily get data back from those. And Google Calendar allows teachers and students to sync events and assignments, due dates, and whatnot, all on the same calendar. So, like I said, using the Google Apps, teachers can easily create and distribute assignments online to the entire class, and students can just as easily complete these and turn it in. So, it's faster, it's easier, it cuts down on paper. So, more on that, why use Google Ed? So, more collaboration. It allows students and teachers to share things among themselves. They can share documents, comments, video, and all while working together. They can work on common assignments, like the same document, and everyone can have access to it and add and comment and take things away to it, edit it. Increase productivity. So tools like the Google Forms, a teacher can make a quiz, send it out to everybody, and they can program the answer sheet into it so the students can get instant feedback for their grade. It corrects itself, essentially, so it cuts down on the teacher's time. They have to be correcting all these quizzes, and the students can get instant feedback to know how they did right after they completed the quizzes. That and the ability to give instant feedback. It's online, it instantly updates, everything instantly saves, so it's just a little faster, increased productivity. So you can also have a mostly paperless classroom. When everything's online, we don't have to turn in an essay and then get it back marked in red and then retype it or reprint it out with corrections and turn it in, and we can do that all online. So we're cutting down on paper waste and increasing the speed at which we can do this. So it's web-based, so all you need is a Gmail account and access to the internet. So you can use a Mac, you can use a PC, you can use a Chromebook, you can use your iPad, any device that will get you access to the internet, and you can use these Google apps. And most of all, it's free, so that's a big reason the school is using it as well. So they're starting to implement it more and more, and even schools all around the country. I think it's, a lot of schools have their own systems for this kind of stuff, but I think the Google Ed is being used in more and more schools all around the country. So, here. All right. Now we're going to log in, and we're going to do I'm going to play the teacher role, and you guys are going to play the student role, and we're going to see exactly how Google Classroom functions.
So if you aren't able to log in, if you want to move your chair over here, you can look over their shoulders because they're logged in. Yeah, just scoot right on over there.
So all this information here, I'll talk you through it, but this is all on the handout that I gave you, or where you're sitting anyway. So you guys should be logged in already. So we'll go over I'll just talk you through it while we do it. So for anyone who is logged in, on the top right, you'll see it'll be a letter. It's typically the first letter of the name, whoever the account is. Does anyone see that in the top right? Do we see an app menu? You see this little thing I circled in red?
Yep, they're good.
They're good, okay.
We got them.
Okay, once you open the app menu, you're going to scroll down. If it's not immediately available, click on More down here, and we're looking for this little green chalkboard that says Classroom. That will open our Google Classroom panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are logged. Oh,
This
hang
is,
on.
Go
back.
Sorry, 78. It's funny, you don't see that, so I've just the other picture. It's not personal. Okay. Go back to that. No, it's flash. Okay, there we go.
All right. So yours typically would have the button there. We just bypassed that.
Josh, she doesn't have Google Classroom.
All right. If you could just open a new tab and just type in Google Classroom.
Okay.
So normally you would do it through this app menu.
Yeah.
You can see this will scroll down and it has it there typically. Sometimes I find that it just messes up, but because you're already logged in on this browser, when you open Google Classroom in another tab, it will just log in. So
There you go.
go ahead and just click on that. And yeah, I don't have a good explanation for
Okay,
sometimes
that's
that app
fine.
seems to
Yep,
disappear.
nope, that's good.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay. So
Oh, good.
we have
We're good.
Google Classroom up. So this is what it is going to look like from the teacher's end, and then the students can see, maybe there's only 1 or 2 classes there, but you can see some of the classes that the student is enrolled in. So after we're in Classroom, on the top right, it's going to say, the first dot last name at Melrose Schools here. There's going to be a little plus icon here. We can click on that. And a menu will appear asking for a class code to join our Google Ed for Parents classroom. I've included the class code right there on the sheet.
You can just read it out loud so they
I
can
will
just.
read it out loud. I will also read it out here. It is, so is everyone at the Ed class
Yes,
pop up there? It is WBC22IV, all lowercase. Yes.
Will I be able to remove that from my
Yeah,
daughter's
we-
account?
We will.
Everything we're doing here is going to get removed, and I have instructions on that for how to remove everything out. We're not interested in changing any students' accounts. So as you can see, we have some students in the classroom now. You guys have joined our classroom. So from here, the teacher can invite other students, or again, they can give out a class code for students to join their class. From here, they can manage students in the class. We can email students directly. So we're going to go back to our stream. The stream is kind of like the wall in Facebook. It's like a common thing where a teacher can post assignments or reading material or anything like that, and students can scroll through it and complete these assignments or read these handouts. So I've included a little video there. I mean, you can watch it if you want. You don't really have to. I've kind of, more of the stuff that I've already gone over about Google Ed. But I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment here as the teacher. I'm going to call it assignment 1. I'm going to attach an assignment I already made in Google Docs. Teacher can also put a due date, and that will sync with the Google Calendar, and it'll give the student updates. I didn't put a due date for this one, I'll do it on the next one, but. So that should, I can see here that 0 are done, we have 5 not done. So it should show up on your stream there. If it doesn't, there should be a little thing that pops up that says stream was updated. If that doesn't pop up, then go ahead and refresh the page. So go ahead and open that assignment. And go ahead and answer those questions. I'll put some easy questions there for you. So after you're done answering them, in the top right, there's a turn in button.
Is that awkward enough for you?
And I might pull one of these up, so don't put anything you wouldn't want anyone to see. So we can see now as people turn them in, I have 1 done here, 4 not done. So we can keep track, or the teacher can keep track of who has completed what assignment.
In Google, you never have to save.
Yeah, that was another thing I didn't mention, but with all the Google apps, there is no save button. So anytime you hit spacebar or type a letter or any change that you make, it automatically saves and updates. So. It looks like almost everybody's done here.
I don't know who your 5th is, because we only have 4 people logged in.
No, neither. That's our.
That person didn't.
Oh, I know exactly who it is. Hold on.
It's you.
No, me and Beth were doing this the other day. I forgot to delete Patrick.
Okay.
That's right.
Anyway,
I'll do it
okay.
later. Okay, so I can see we have 4 done here. So I can look at all these assignments. I'm not going to pull up everyone's. I'll just pull up one as an example. So we can see what their answers were. We can give a grade. We can post comments. We could say, we can edit. We can go ahead. Did you have a question?
No, I was wondering when the comments is going to appear, so it goes on the side.
Oh, so it's on the side. So when the student, it's passed back and a student opens it, they can see, like, right here, it'll see this resolve button too. So if someone's like peer editing or if a teacher makes a bunch of corrections, then the student can then make those corrections and hit the resolve button, and it'll like, that comment will be, like it's still there, but it's like considered. So, but yes, the student, they will appear on the side here, and then when they click on them, they can see, it'll highlight what the commenter is referring to.
Is this, maybe you're getting to, is this the same thing that we're talking about, like, the work on the project?
He hasn't sent it back yet.
That was what
He has storage.
that's something different, like they're working on the project at the same time?
Kind of, we're actually going to do
You're gonna
that
get to that?
next, so
Okay.
let's see. But yes, this is a method in which they could do that. It's not the exact same thing you're talking about, but yeah, we're going to do that shortly here. All right, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to give everybody 100. And I'm going to return. I can write private comments to students individually, or I can write comments to the class as a whole. And after I return these, go ahead and look at the assignment if it's not already up. And you can see right here in the top right, you got 100 out of 100, so you can get grade feedback quicker than you normally would. Does everybody see where that 100 out of 100 is? Yeah. Okay, excellent.
So if you go back to, if you go back to your
Yes,
classroom, you can close. But if you,
On the assignment, I put in a private comment, so where does that go?
Okay, which one was yours?
Annabelle.
Annabelle.
Is it on your side?
On the assignment, not on the document.
What do you mean a post?
No, there's a window for private comments. I put a private comment there, and I was wondering where it would end up.
Where did you put it in?
Did you post it?
Yes, I did. I got back your comment, SDM Foundation, great job everyone. But I put in
Okay. So when it's a private comment, it gets emailed to the teacher directly. So I do have it in my email here, but because it was private, it doesn't go to the class stream. But you can publicly comment.
So can you change that, make it public, or?
I'm not sure if you can change it. On your end, you might be able to.
Not change it, but add, if you want to ask a question to everybody, when is this due, for example?
Yeah, so you can do that right in the, on the screen there. There's a public comment. Do you see it, or?
just, we're going to,
Screen,
that you,
and then add class comment, okay.
Yeah, so the class comment will go to the class. The public comment emails directly to the teacher.
Okay.
Excuse me, the private comment emails directly to the teacher.
So if you're on the stream to ask a question about a specific assignment, so how will they know that they're asking a question about assignment number 1 versus?
Well, so you see how under assignment number 1, we have a class comment underneath this one. We also have an add class comment
Oh,
underneath the video. So it's like replying to a post in a way. Either that or you could state, assignment 1.2, this was confusing. Like if it's a public comment and you feel that the question needs to be answered for all the students in the class, that would be a good place to do that rather than the private message to the teacher.
I just sent a,
right, so if other people refresh,
So
they should.
everybody should be able to see that there.
Okay. Awesome. I want to go back to school.
I know.
So the public comments are for everybody to see. All right, I'm going to go ahead and post another assignment here.
Is there any way for students to communicate with only 1 or 2 students within the system, or is it the whole class?
You can email other students directly.
Okay.
Should we?
But yes, there should be a list. I'd have to look at it, but it should show everyone else who is in the class, and you can private message or email them directly. Yes.
I think in the, yeah.
All right. And so this is a collaborative assignment, which means that there is one document that we are all going to work on at the same time.
So refresh.
So there's a lot of different things you could do with this. It might be chaotic in a classroom full of people, but for example, you could have 2 students peer editing the same paper where they're in the same document at the same time, and they can work digitally.
So go ahead and open it.
Is there a track of who made the changes?
Yes, you can see that.
Okay.
So you can see different cursors in here.
You can all write at the same time, so go ahead.
So right now, I have it set to anybody can edit, so we can all add, delete, and change each other's comments right now. As the teacher, I can set it to comments are suggestions. So you type something and then the other person has to approve, like someone types a sentence, then someone else tries to edit it, it'll show up as a suggestion, and then the person has to approve, say, okay, that's a good suggestion, go ahead and change it. But right now I set it so everyone can edit it.
This is what I,
As you're typing.
when I'm typing, I can see my name will pop up there.
We can see up in the top right here, everyone who's in this document with us. There is also a chat log on the side so people can talk to each other. Well, this is a public chat, but you can talk to people directly as well. And we can all comment on each other's work too.
So you can see as somebody's writing, who's writing it, but if you want to see who wrote one of the comments,
So you'll see that see the comment right here. You can see that SDM Foundation wrote that comment regarding this word. So you can see who commented on what.
The chat window is for everyone to see, right? There's no
Yes.
selection. You cannot send to one person only.
Yes, it's a group chat.
Yeah, I think you're right there. You would have to do it. Let's see.
Yeah, that might be a little bit.
Well, and often they're not all going to be editing at the same time. But you've written a document and it goes to somebody else to peer review. So in general, they wouldn't all be typing at the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
this,
practical.
this is kind of, this would be chaotic in a large classroom, obviously, but you can see that the application could be used in many different ways to collaborate on one piece at the same time.
so I don't think I understand, like, if 3 people are working on the document, they're each responsible for a part. If you want to know if that person did their own part, how do you know when you look at the document if they did fill it?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
So let's say they're working on a group assignment,
Yep.
they are all assigned to one specific part, but you don't know, like, how do you know when you sign in if that person actually wrote that part?
Okay.
So
Well,
when I look,
if it's written, I mean,
but you won't be able to know, like, if you're revising, like, you won't be able to know
right.
who
I
corrected what.
don't think it stays tagged with who authored
You're
it
right.
and who.
I don't think that functionality is built in, but it could be as simple as just,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right, but that functionality isn't exactly built in. I guess you could highlight your whole paragraph, write a comment and say, I wrote this, or there's ways to do it, but you're right that it doesn't,
Like, you would have them in a Word document where you can add comments or
Right.
corrections.
It's not as, yeah,
Correct.
Google Docs is not as full-featured as Microsoft Word.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
wanted to-
No,
but it's free.
No, that's fine.
And it's all online, it's easy to share and whatnot, but yes, it is true that it might not be as full featured as Microsoft Word. So, I think you guys can understand the utility of this. So let's move on to our other assignment here. Normally there'd be a turn-in button, you don't have to worry about that one for that one. All right, I'm going to create another assignment. This one's going to be a quiz.
So why was it, so this one didn't have a turn-in button? Or was it, or were we supposed to share it?
So because that's, excuse me, I didn't mean to say turn-in button, but because that's one shared one, it's one document we're all working on, so it saves automatically. And so that 0 done, 5 not done doesn't actually apply to like how I did it, but yeah, think of it as like one piece of paper on a table and everyone's like writing on it, so you don't really have to turn your version in because it's already saved there. But yeah, so the teacher would have to like check that off individually and say they did it. But
So when it's a group, you don't need to share when you're done working on the document, right?
yeah, so the first one we did, I had a template there, and I made a copy that went out to each student. And then when they're done with their copy, they turn that copy into the classroom.
Okay.
But that one was one shared document among everybody, so you can't really turn in your version because there's only one version.
So how does a teacher know when the kids are done with it?
Reviewing it, looking at it, or it might not always be done the way that I did it. I kind of did that as an example just to show you the functionality, but typically that like sort of sharing might be done between 2 students and then they save their own copy and turn it in individually. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can manipulate. You can like, so for that one, you can save yourself a copy of that document and then you can turn that in. We just didn't do that that time.
And is that something that is recommended for the students, like to keep a copy in their own drive before they send?
Not necessarily. I would say it depends on the assignment. I mean, the great thing about the Google stuff is it's all online. It's easily accessible. So, I mean, if they didn't save their own copy, they could find the class copy and then make a copy of it from there. It's all saves instantly. It's all online. It's very accessible. So if you lose something, it's pretty easy to get back.
On the Google Drive, will it always just save the latest version, or will it save the earlier ones before it got changed around?
It will save what you tell it to.
Only the latest version, because it changes as you go along.
Sure.
So it always only has,
Yeah, I mean, you can make
If
it.
you wanted to save,
you'd have to purposely do
Say-
the earlier version.
like
Revision
you've done the
one,
program.
you would have
Okay.
to,
So
Yeah.
there is
you'd
the
have to
ability
do
to
that on
just have
purpose.
to do it.
Just
Absolutely.
like you're writing a Microsoft Word.
Okay, cool.
You can save a copy of a version and then
Perfect.
continue
Right.
to save over that version. But yeah,
You have to specifically do
Yeah,
that.
do it.
Yes, you have
Yeah.
to specifically.
it will do what you tell it to do.
Sure.
Essentially. But it's like a normal hard drive.
It doesn't version it as we go along.
No.
Exactly. You would have to tell it or specify that you want to create multiple versions. Okay, I'm going to attach our practice quiz here.
Go back to your stream and refresh.
Here.
Go ahead and take your quiz.
I made it pretty easy. So that was a quiz that I created using Google Forms, which is, again, I briefly touched on that a teacher can create surveys or getting information or quizzes, and they can pass it out, and then all that data, the answer data, is collected by Google.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
So you should get a grade instantly. Probably should have told someone to get a wrong answer just for the heck of it. They didn't. Oh,
You could guess that, couldn't you?
I was gonna-
I knew it was.
I should put like a very difficult math question at the end. Just to see. Okay, looks like we're all done here. So I can view this two ways. I'm going to go to our responses here. So this is in Google Forms. I can go to responses. This will map out some of the data that we got back from this. So did anyone look at their grade already? It should show you and you can view it instantly. So that's another feature where a teacher can program the answer sheet into the quiz and students can get feedback instantly and the teacher spends less time grading all these quizzes.
I think if you refresh.
So we can see who missed questions, who answered what, the average points. You can see the answers to these questions. Most people, I'd say 75% of people answered stop when they come to a red light. One person answered go. What color are stop signs? Again, 75% of people think they are red, and 25% of people think they're blue. What is the animal in the picture? So you can see it takes the data or the information from our quizzes and it maps it out a little bit for us. So we could see who's struggling on what, or which questions were maybe not worded right, or we can see where there's obvious areas that need to be worked on. It also will automatically send all this information to a spreadsheet. So we can see in here who answered what, the timestamp, the score they got on the quiz. So we can get all this information automatically put into a spreadsheet for us. We can then map that out. It's just like Excel. You know, you can use that to create spreadsheets, charts, or basically it's a good way to take the information and map it out, and we can see where there's problem areas.
So this part is only accessible for the teacher, right?
Yes.
Yes and no. I mean,
Hopefully.
like I said, with any Gmail account, you all have access to Google Forms. You could go there tonight and play with Google Forms if you want to make a little spreadsheet, a little quiz and send it out to your friends, or you could use it for like RSVPing to dinner. Like, are you going to bring this? Who's coming? What time will you be there? What days work for you? There's many different ways to use Google Forms, but I guess the answer is no. Like, students do have access to Google Forms. They could make a quiz if they want.
I think her question was, who gets to see the grade book?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really the teacher. I misunderstood what you were saying.
Just wait for it.
No, I misunderstood what you were saying. So anyone can create their own Google form and send it out. But yes, the spreadsheet that is related to the answers and whatnot, that's only for the person who sent the form out, unless they choose to share. But yes, that's kept private. All the grading stuff is, you can't see each other's grades, you can see your own grades, but the teacher really can only see that stuff.
So the teacher could mess up and not input share by accident. Is there like a button or something?
Yes and no. It would be hard to do that by accident.
Okay.
It's not like a
Checkbox.
Yeah, like you'd have to click share, then you'd have to choose what you're sharing, then you'd have to choose who you're sharing it to. Like it's more than just like an accidental click is going to expose everyone's grades. But it's possible, but unlikely.
Is it possible that at one point, I don't know if it was a mistake but it seemed like my son was submitting homework or an assignment, but then you can see all the other kids' assignment on there.
On the same assignment?
In one of the pages, you could see, I was like, why? I didn't understand why he had access to what other people were writing, but I don't know. I didn't look through it too much because I didn't know how it worked.
Without knowing the exact circumstances,
Yeah.
I guess there's a couple of ways that could happen. Either they're all putting it into a shared folder where they're turning it in that
Okay, so that could be.
other students can look at it, or like where we did it all on the same document. If the teacher, instead of making a copy for each student and sending it out, they accidentally hit a button that's just students can edit this file, then it's essentially everyone editing the same file and they can all see each other's answers. So it could be an error about how it was distributed, or it could be where it's being turned in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it was product share folder, which
I think teachers are learning this as
Learning.
well and getting better at it, so I think it probably could have just been a mistake, or it could be how they set it up. I don't know whether or not it was intentional.
that's it. I don't know if the teacher wanted the students to kind of look how other students
Yeah.
were doing.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be good for students to see other students' answers and whatnot.
How long has this been around? How long have the kids been using this in Malvern?
That's
This-
do you know when it was?
This year is district-wide.
Oh,
Before
okay.
that, different grades, different schools, different teachers, different, but this is absolutely district-wide now.
Wow.
And in fact, if you're a high school parent, you probably are getting the automatic emails each week that give you an idea of what their homework has and hasn't been turned in. In middle school, that's more teacher by teacher. In elementary school, they're not really using it yet, but that's also being rolled out.
So is Aspen going to be phased out then?
We have to use, the schools have to use Aspen to interface with the Department of Ed, so it will never go away, but they're transitioning from having teachers have classroom pages on Aspen to having them, they're not all doing their classroom pages on Google Ed because some of the teachers, there's some really good other software available for teachers, like especially like elementary teachers and middle school teachers are using some other things. So they're transitioning away from that aspect of Aspen, but they're not all doing it on Google.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions or anything I missed or was not clear?
On submitting, so what does it do exactly when, because my son loves to go and edit a few things, and I don't know what it looks on the other end for the teacher. Like, does she get like 3 copies of his thing, or does she get only the updated copy, or?
So like I said, if he's making changes, then making a copy of it, and making changes and making a copy, then it could be multiple copies. But typically, it's the same document that gets passed in, the teacher will comment it and make corrections, then the student can edit those and resolve the comments and then recheck them.
Can I just, I think what she's saying, if somebody submits, they can still edit and submit again?
Oh, yes, yes.
And does
So-
she get 2 notifications?
Yes, I'm sorry, I keep misunderstanding.
You're not a parent, it's a little.
It's not set. So when you submit, there is, I don't know if you noticed, but there is an unsubmit button.
Yes, so that's
you
what
can-
he likes to
Exactly,
use.
you can take it back and then make changes and resubmit.
Okay, so and then the teacher gets 2, you're saying 2 emails
It
saying.
will typically show an email saying, this student has submitted, and then it'll say submitted again.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it gives an email when they unsubmit, it's possible, but. So, I get the comments as well, as emails.
So are you doing it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to correct my answer.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay, so now,
So-
but the document, if the first assignment,
They won't see the
you could
first version.
unsubmit.
It's like putting assignment in, taking it away, changing it, putting it back, and they
What
only
if
see.
they don't
well,
immediately resubmit?
If they don't immediately do it, then.
I can do resubmit.
Okay, so click
Maybe,
that and
it
then we'll
depends,
see if
you know,
it gets
some
another
teachers
email.
aware and understanding that, but.
Then,
So did you change anything?
can I put a comment here now? I did not.
Okay, so we've just resubmitted assignment 1. Can you
Okay.
just see if you have any notification?
I didn't change anything on it.
So let's see, yours up here is only one, so.
Resubmitted,
Right
so
here.
he,
It does
it's
say
just noted as resubmitted.
Resubmitted, but it doesn't,
That's fine.
it did not give me an email
I
notification.
can't, oh, that's cool. I cannot edit it when it's submitted.
Okay.
Okay, I have to unsubmit, then open it. Submit it.
So I think you need to show them how to get out of your class, Josh, because we're running.
So, we're wrapping up. Like Kristen said, you typically don't have access to all the classroom stuff. You know, this is meant to be the students' front end, how they are interacting with it. But you can sign up for the email, the parent email, which you get automatic updates from generated by Google about, you know, your student missed this assignment or this assignment's coming up, or just giving you updates on what's new without necessarily having to log into their classroom all the time. So, all right, so there is a little bit on the end of the packet there about ending the class. So we're looking for this top menu here. That will open to another menu, and there's a little thing that says classes. You want to click on that.
So,
If anyone's having trouble.
here's a video.
I do find something. Yeah. Go back.
Sorry.
And then pick classes.
That right there. Yep.
All right, and then,
Power.
that's okay. Click on the
There,
3
so
dots,
three little dots.
and then choose unenroll.
Unenroll from the school.
Yeah, right there, yep.
So if
And
the
unenroll.
students by mistake would do that and take the
Just
class.
1 second, we're gonna
they
check
just have
whether-
They would have to rejoin the class.
You can
Okay,
exit.
but they wouldn't lose what was on there. 'cause it's-
No, because, yeah, and the teacher would have it. And so they'll have some emails from this activity, which you can go in and delete right now, or you can just tell them to delete them, but as long as you're out of the class,
Because,
that's what they'll
because we're
care
doing things
about
back
most.
and forth, it might
The
generate it.
assignment
saying so-and-so
document stayed in the.
Oh, yes, so you can delete the documents that were,
Updates, so I think.
So what did you say?
Go ahead and just hit that refresh.
No, I didn't say it, it's just the one that was shared.
Okay,
Oh,
good, so we click
so
that.
he's
Julie
saying
won't
when he
worry
goes
about
into
that.
the,
I'll just go over to the traffic.
Big brother was watching a computer.
Yeah, I need to erase my facts.
So.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. That's
Okay, so this is done, you send emails.
yeah,
And for parents.
they will have gotten a few email notifications, I think.
Which are.
No, maybe not.
There
Good.
you go. And everything is gone.
and then log out.
Fair.
We'll log you out if you don't log out.
Oh,
Invitation to the classroom, and I have to sign up with them on it. I don't know what the problem is.
Oh, you mean an individual? The student needed an invitation, or you wanted the newsletter?
That,
Yeah, so-
good.
So,
yeah, because it just appeared this year.
yeah, unfortunately, they're not- that's managed by the teacher.
Yes,
Because
and
That's the right question.
they're the ones.
Yeah, it's
who
hard
set
to
up
know
the-
how much
who's
they
being
can
sent
do,
that
how
on the teacher's
many
side, so you're
different
gonna have
things
to
they
speak
can
to
do
the
until
teacher.
you actually play with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I submitted it, I can't see it anymore. And if you have a Gmail account, you can, except
I
for
would
the
just
classroom,
pre-approve
you can
and
use
let
Docs, you can
type
use
it
all
right.
the
So,
applications, but
you
you
can
can't
just
get in
sign
the
up.
classroom without.
X out of all
An
those
official
steps,
one.
and you are all set.
So is that
Did
something
you-
that they plan to give parents? Not that I want to do that, because I don't want to.
No, so I think the newsletter.
So
at this
before you-
point, the
are you logged out
newsletter
yet?
is gonna be the way that parents
Before you
can
log out, can I just
access,
check one thing?
what their
Go,
children are.
to
They're not really thinking
Drive.
that they'll have parents actually log in and be able to see the more detailed.
Perfect. So,
There are.
if you don't mind signing.
I know.
And some of it has to do with how old your kids are.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
true.
Did you check in Drive?
I'll do
as
some
well?
of it.
Yes, and drive, I
What?
removed it.
In the classroom, there's a,
So the newsletter.
I'm sorry, you might want-
Yeah, how old are you?
She's in sixth grade.
Okay, so.
are you still logged in, or?
I'm new, I gotta.
Could you log in one more time? I just want to double check that all documents are deleted and we're
And
not
some
leaving any
teachers at the middle
emails
school
or anything
are, and
behind.
some of them
So,
aren't yet.
in
At
Drive,
the high school, most of them,
up to Classroom.
from Google. And
So
it
you'll see it
basically
automatically creates a
automated
folder, so
thing that
whoever
says,
parents, right click on
these
that
are
or
the assignments
just
that
go
you're
back to
doing,
Classroom
these are the ones you haven't, and.
there
but it
and
just
right click on
gives you a
whoever
little-
parents and we're going to remove that. All the way down to the bottom. There you go.
It's.
Okay, and if you could just click on the app name.
I don't know what, I don't know what
Let's go to
it is.
Gmail.
I just know it's sort of generated
See if
from
it
Google,
generated any
and it's
comments.
the teacher who has to
Nope.
sign it.
So sometimes if the teacher comments on something, if I commented on one of your comments, it might email you, so I just want to make sure there's nothing in there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it should be all set, so go ahead and log out.
So I
did sign in, but-
Perfect, all right.
one of the other staff members
If you
has.
don't mind.
Oh, no, no.
So we're just
She
checking
tried to get
that.
parent login, and it never worked, and I think there's still some misunderstanding about whether there are.
Google Drive is like the
It says
online
there's
hard drive,
no
basically.
parent
So
login.
it automatically
You can get to
saves
use
classrooms
it,
work,
or you can log in.
created the school and for
But
parents.
there is
So we're just gonna get
an
rid of that.
in-between level where you log in as a parent login. So it's either rolling out or it's a misunderstanding, but I do know other people have had no,
So is she asked for the newsletter name?
at least ask them.
We are all set.
Sign mine is,
It's not all the teachers must be really.
Okay, so you can sign out now. Assignment 2 is still there?
yeah, I'm in Drive right now.
Yeah, you can delete
Well,
that.
and they're
actually-
professional development.
Make sure that's not 100%.
I think
And
we're
you'll
good.
find more and
Everything
more
else is
teachers.
specified. Either way, go to,
Honey, I don't know why you didn't.
it's okay, go to trash.
Okay. Why?
It's probably, I know this from ours. Did you already delete go to My Drive? Did you go to Classroom? Oh, did you already delete the?
No, that was not, just not there.
Okay, do you mind if I just take a look?
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes students nest folders into other folders, and
If they change the file structure of the, oh, you already trashed it. Okay. If they change the file structure, sometimes the folders like get thrown in weird
Okay.
places. But
can
you
I
are all
see the,
set.
hold on a second. Can I see the other?
I just want to make sure there's no, okay, you're all
He
set.
already
Go ahead.
And, how come I can't see what,
So I think the reason that disappeared was because you already trashed the folder anyway, so, but I can tell you that that assignment 2 is definitely generated from ours. Everything else is titled like an actual assignment. But I think everybody's clear, so you can go ahead and sign out there. Okay. Did anybody have any questions, or was there anything that was not clear?
So, is there a way for them to see what they turned in and what they didn't turn in? Like, is there kind of a list somewhere that says assignment due this date and then turn in or not?
So yeah, we didn't touch on that, but the Google Calendar will show all the upcoming stuff. I think it does give you a notification if you're late or you haven't turned anything in, but I'm not sure about an actual table that will show. The calendar is basically what's going to manage those things, and they can see where things come from.
And that calendar is set up all by the teacher and,
Yeah, I mean, the students can add stuff to their own calendar.
yeah, but whatever the program, the school program.
Yeah, so I didn't do any due dates on any of the assignments I did, but if I put a due date in, that will automatically show up on the student's calendar.
And would it show up not done? Or,
It would show up when it needs to be done,
okay.
but, so the done, not done is on the teacher's end.
Okay. It's not that like the,
Yeah,
okay,
it's still
fine. Not
getting
that.
better.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No
idea about this world.
I mean, I know about Google Docs and people are using that, but I didn't realize the kids were just heavily using it.
And I saw one of Korea's friends took the digital literacy, so, and then we helped them organize like folders and I think that would be a good class for every student to have at the beginning, but they're familiar.
Oh,
And
they
they're
have a
all
class?
do the same, but it's just it's one of the choices.
Right.
So not everybody is on the same page.
Although they pick it up so quickly.
I know, but still, like,
Still.
if you have a method right from sixth grade, say this is how we're using it, it's easier.
Well, it's like when they used to give out assignment books all the time, and they taught the kids how to use an assignment book. And, you know, they checked them and made sure that, because it was teaching that organizational
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah, because he was showing him like, oh, look how I set it up and.
You can tell my kids are old.
There's nothing more important than organization.
Right, because it's the foundation of everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a class now, that's the one I signed up for. There's a class now on
Organization,
organization.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
So you're going, no, you're going to.
And again, we're right on Main Street. If anyone wants any computer or device lessons.